Hello and welcome to another Naughty Egg Draw. I'm Jake, and today will be the second part of making a dynamic animation using our superhero Takeoff. Now in the last video we learned how to set up the animation so the character felt more dynamic in its motions. And we created the animatic and the final line work for the piece. So if you haven't seen part 1 yet, make sure you go check that out. I'm going to leave a link for that down below for you guys. So today we're going to be adding color to the character, and I'm going to give some friendly tips throughout the process on how I normally do it. As well as adding some fun and simple special effects that you can use on your character to really make it seem like he's really flying off with some oomph. And with nothing left to say, let's get into it. Alright, so starting out, I'm bringing the transparency of my reference layer back to normal by right-clicking on the layer and switching it back to visible. Since in the last video I brought it down to use as a tracing template for my line work. Now all I do is put the reference to the side, make it a bit smaller so it's out of the way, but I still have the ability to pick colors from it. Now one of the things I always make sure I have on when I'm doing the coloring process is going to be my pressure sensitive mode, which is going to be right here, as well as having the option for paint behind on, and that's going to be right here in the brush options. I find both of these to be very important to have on because first, with the pressure sensitivity on, you'll have better control of where your shadows and highlights are going to land. And second, with the paint behind on, you'll, be able to paint behind the lines that are already on the screen. This helps a lot so you don't have to worry about your colors overlapping your line work. So what I always do when I'm using Animate CC or Flash is I do all the shadows and highlights first for two main reasons. One, it helps that when you have your onion skin on, you can see where you place the shadows and highlights in your last frame a lot better. And two, because the way it works when you're using the paint behind method, you can easily go back and make adjustments to the colors without having to go in and remove all the other colors. And well, this is animation, and we want to be as efficient as we can. Another big thing you're going to want to do is make sure you know where your light source is coming from. Mine's coming from about this angle. It's important to establish this really early on because you don't want to start with your shadows coming in from one side and then slowly shifting into a different area throughout the animation. Now don't worry, you don't need to have it 100% perfect, but you do want to keep it in a very similar position throughout your whole scene. Alright, so this will just be a bit of watching me finish up the coloring of the character, but don't leave because once we're finished with the coloring process, I'm going to go in and show you how to make some effects that really give it a strong takeoff effect. Alright, so now that I've test played the clip, I'm ready to start adding some stuff happening around him. So the first effect I'm giving him is just a sense of air moving around him, or you could see this as aura building up around him as he's powering up to take off. I do this really simply by just making some very flowy lines around him. Now these will never be in the same spot, but they are always slightly near the lines you made before. And then when he takes off, you're going to make them fling outward to give the takeoff a little bit more of an emphasis, like he's being pushed. Now the next effect is going to be one of the most important in my opinion when it comes to this takeoff, and that's going to be making the ground around his feet destroyed. And this is pretty simple. You just need to go to the frame right where his feet are going to be leaving the ground and trace a jagged line around where his feet were. And then just give it some cracks and some depth and you're done with that. This is really simple and can add a lot to your scene. And now the last effect I'm adding is smoke, or a cloud of dust from the ground breaking, or anything else that would be on the ground, such as dirt or rubble. Now once I draw the first part of this cloud, I'm going to select all of it and turn it into a graphic symbol. By doing this, I can go into the graphic symbol and animate it in there. That way if I want to reuse or resize it, I don't have to redraw everything. Just think of it as an animation within an animation. Animationception? Animaception? You know what I mean. And once you're finished with everything, you're going to want to test play it and see how it all looks. And that's pretty much it. Let's check it out with some simple sounds added, and I may have possibly added a secret twist ending to it. Let's watch, shall we? Alright, that is it guys, a superhero takeoff. Now just like in the last video, if you guys make some animations like this using the dynamic method that I showed you guys, I'd really love to see them, so make sure you guys go and post that either on the Facebook page or the Twitter page. But anyways, thank you guys for watching this video till the end. If you haven't yet, make sure you smack that sub button, throw a like and a comment down below, and like always, keep drawing, and until next time, bye!